Have you ever had the feeling that someone close to you might pose a threat? In this video, you'll learn about 10 essential signs to identify a dangerous person in your life. Stay vigilant, this could be crucial for your safety. Let's get started. Before we dive in, I would really appreciate it if you could like this video and subscribe. Your support allows me to continue creating content like this. Let's begin. Dangerous individuals often display manipulative behaviors. These can be either subtle or overt, but their goal is always to control and dominate. Emotional manipulation is one of the primary indicators. Someone who constantly makes you feel guilty, toys with your emotions, or exploits your fears and desires is clearly showing signs of manipulation. They might also make you feel as if you are wrong, even when you are right, causing you to second-guess your perceptions and judgments. Another obvious sign is control. This person might attempt to isolate you from friends and family, making you reliant on them alone. They might interfere in your decisions, both trivial and significant, making you feel incompetent to make choices on your own. Furthermore, they may display inconsistent behavior, saying one thing but doing another, and changing their opinions and attitudes without apparent reason. This keeps you in a state of confusion and vulnerability. These are just a few common manipulative behaviors you might encounter. Identifying them is the first step in protecting yourself and taking charge of your life. Stay aware and trust your instincts. Do not underestimate the importance of recognizing these signs and acting accordingly. Narcissistic traits can be tough to spot at first because narcissists often appear charming and charismatic. However, there are certain behaviors that can reveal them. One of the most clear-cut signs is a constant need for admiration and attention. Narcissists always want to be the focus in any situation and feel uncomfortable or resentful when they're not. Another prevalent characteristic is a lack of empathy. Narcissists have a profound inability to understand or care about the feelings and needs of others. They can seem insensitive or indifferent to others' pain or joy, as they always prioritize their own desires and emotions. This lack of empathy allows them to manipulate and use people without remorse. A sense of superiority is another clear indicator. Narcissists believe they are better than others and deserve special treatment. They may scorn those they consider inferior and often have unrealistic expectations of being treated with deference. This sense of superiority often shows in arrogant and disdainful behavior. Envy and the belief that others envy them are also common traits. Narcissists are frequently jealous of others' successes while thinking that others are jealous of them. This envy can lead them to undermine successful people or belittle others' achievements. Narcissistic traits can be tough to spot at first because narcissists often appear charming and charismatic. However, there are certain behaviors that can reveal them. One of the most clear-cut signs is a constant need for admiration and attention. Narcissists always want to be the focus in any situation and feel uncomfortable or resentful when they're not. Another prevalent characteristic is a lack of empathy. Narcissists have a profound inability to understand or care about the feelings and needs of others. They can seem insensitive or indifferent to others' pain or joy, as they always prioritize their own desires and emotions. This lack of empathy allows them to manipulate and use people without remorse. A sense of superiority is another clear indicator. Narcissists believe they are better than others and deserve special treatment. They may scorn those they consider inferior and often have unrealistic expectations of being treated with deference. This sense of superiority often shows in arrogant and disdainful behavior. Envy and the belief that others envy them are also common traits. Narcissists are frequently jealous of others' successes while thinking that others are jealous of them. This envy can lead them to undermine successful people or belittle others' achievements. A sense of superiority is another clear indicator. Narcissists believe they are better than others and deserve special treatment. They may scorn those they consider inferior and often have unrealistic expectations of being treated with deference. This sense of superiority often shows in arrogant and disdainful behavior. Envy and the belief that others envy them are also common traits. Narcissists are frequently jealous of others' successes while thinking that others are jealous of them. This envy can lead them to undermine successful people or belittle others' achievements. Narcissists can be extremely sensitive to criticism, reacting with anger or contempt to any negative comments, which contrasts with their tendency to criticize and belittle others without consideration. They also often exploit people to achieve their own goals, disregarding the emotional or physical costs to others. Narcissistic traits can be dangerous because they can cause emotional, psychological, and sometimes physical harm to those around them. Manipulation, lack of empathy, and a sense of superiority can create toxic and destructive relationships. Recognizing these traits and understanding why they are dangerous is crucial to safeguarding yourself and making informed decisions about whom you surround yourself with. Being alert and aware of these indicators can help prevent entrapment by a narcissistic personality and maintain healthy, balanced relationships. Violent or aggressive attitudes are clear signs of potential danger and can show up in various forms. Physical aggression is perhaps the most evident and alarming. This includes behaviors like hitting, pushing, throwing objects, or any physical contact that causes harm or intimidation. These acts are dangerous due to the immediate physical damage they can cause and because they tend to escalate over time if unchecked. Verbal aggression, though less visible, is equally harmful. Yelling, threats, and constant belittling are signs of an aggressive personality. This type of behavior can erode the victim's self-esteem and create an environment of fear and submission. Threats, even if not carried out, can have long-term devastating effects. Another form of aggression is coercive control, which involves the use of intimidation, isolation, and manipulation to dominate another person. This can manifest as restrictions on whom the victim can talk to, where they can go, and what they can do. Coercive control creates an environment where the victim feels they must ask for permission or fear reprisals for their actions, undermining their autonomy and freedom. Extreme jealousy and possessiveness are also indicative of an aggressive personality. A person who shows pathological jealousy may try to control all aspects of their partner's life under the guise of protection or love. This jealousy can lead to episodes of physical or verbal violence when the person feels their control is being threatened. Pay attention to behavior patterns as well. A person who shows repeated episodes of intense anger, unpredictable mood swings, and disproportionate reactions to everyday situations may be demonstrating a tendency toward aggression. These patterns, when observed consistently, indicate a higher risk of violent behavior. Additionally, a person's past behavior can be telling of their potential for violence. Someone with a history of aggressive or violent behavior, whether in past relationships, the workplace, or social situations, is more likely to exhibit these behaviors again. Violence is usually not an isolated incident, it is a pattern that can repeat and escalate if not adequately addressed. A lack of empathy is a characteristic that can be a clear indicator of danger in a relationship. People who lack empathy cannot understand or share the feelings of others. This inability to connect emotionally manifests in various forms and has serious consequences for those who relate to them. One of the most evident signs of a lack of empathy is insensitivity to the feelings of others. A person without empathy may seem indifferent or insensitive to others' pain or joy. They do not show interest in others' problems or offer emotional support. This behavior can make their loved ones feel neglected, misunderstood, and isolated. Another manifestation of a lack of empathy is the inability to put oneself in others' shoes. Empathetic people can imagine how others feel in different situations and respond compassionately. In contrast, someone without empathy cannot understand why someone might feel sad, happy, anxious, or angry and often responds inappropriately or insensitively. This can lead to constant conflicts and misunderstandings. Lack of empathy also shows in the tendency to blame victims for their own problems. A person without empathy might say things like "you deserve it" or "it's your fault" when someone expresses their difficulties. These types of comments are not only hurtful but can also demoralize the victim and make them feel responsible for circumstances beyond their control. Relationships with people who lack empathy can be extremely draining. Without the ability to show understanding and support, these relationships are often marked by selfishness and a lack of emotional reciprocity. Empathetic people often find themselves giving much of themselves without receiving anything in return, which can lead to emotional exhaustion and feeling used. Additionally, a lack of empathy can lead to abusive behaviors. Without the ability to understand how their actions affect others, a person without empathy is more likely to exploit, manipulate, or hurt others without feeling remorse. This can create a cycle of abuse and victimization, in which the empathetic person feels trapped and without a way out. Lack of empathy can also hinder conflict resolution. In a healthy relationship, both parties can recognize and validate each other's feelings, facilitating dialogue and problem solving. However, when a person lacks empathy, They are less likely to commit to understanding the other's point of view, which can lead to a stalemate and an escalation of conflicts. Inconsistent behavior and lies are clear signs that someone may be dangerous and untrustworthy. Identifying these patterns is crucial to protecting yourself and making informed decisions about the people you associate with. Lies and inconsistent behavior can manifest in many ways and have serious consequences for relationships and personal well-being. One of the first signs of inconsistent behavior is the contradiction in a person's words and actions. For instance, someone might promise support or help in a situation but fail to deliver when the time comes. This discrepancy between what is said and what is done creates confusion and distrust. The person facing these contradictions may begin to doubt the sincerity and reliability of the inconsistent individual. Lies are another critical aspect of inconsistent behavior. Habitual liars may twist the truth to manipulate situations to their advantage, hide uncomfortable truths, or avoid responsibilities. These lies can be big or small, but they all contribute to an atmosphere of dishonesty. Over time, repeated lies accumulate and become harder to maintain, often leading to contradictions and revelations that further damage trust. Another form of inconsistency is the sudden change of opinions and attitudes. An inconsistent person may express a viewpoint with conviction one moment and then drastically change their position without a reasonable explanation. This can leave others feeling bewildered and unsure of what to expect. This kind of behavior can be particularly problematic in situations requiring stability and predictability, such as work or personal relationships. Individuals who exhibit inconsistent behaviors often struggle to keep commitments. They might start projects or relationships with enthusiasm only to quickly lose interest and abandon their promises. This lack of commitment and persistence can be extremely frustrating for those who rely on them, as they never know if the person will follow through or abandon them at the last minute. Inconsistent behavior can also manifest in how a person treats others. They may be extremely kind and generous one moment, only to act cold and distant the next. This unpredictability can cause great emotional distress, as others never know what to expect and may feel constantly on guard. Recognizing these patterns of inconsistent behavior and lies is essential for protecting yourself from harmful relationships. Observing the congruence between words and actions, noting unfulfilled promises, and being alert to sudden changes in attitudes and behaviors can help you recognize an inconsistent person. Keeping a mental or even physical record of these inconsistencies can be helpful in evaluating someone's reliability over time. It's also important to trust your intuition. If something doesn't seem right, or if someone constantly makes you feel insecure or confused, these may be signs that their behavior is inconsistent and unreliable. Intuition can be a powerful tool for detecting lies and problematic behavior patterns. Social isolation and control are common tactics used by dangerous people to exert dominance over their victims. These strategies aim to reduce the victim's external support, making them more dependent on the abuser and less able to resist manipulation and control. The process of social isolation is gradual and often begins subtly, but its effects can be deeply damaging and long-lasting. One of the first tactics employed is sowing doubts about the intentions and loyalty of friends and family. The dangerous person may make derogatory comments or negative insinuations about people close to the victim, suggesting they are not trustworthy or do not have their best interests at heart. This can lead the victim to question their relationships and feel insecure about whom they can trust. As isolation progresses, the abuser may begin to establish rules and restrictions about whom the victim can interact with. They might demand to know whom they are talking to, check their messages and calls, or even prohibit certain friendships and family gatherings. These controls are often justified under the pretext of concern or love, but are designed to limit the victim's independence and increase their emotional dependence on the abuser. Control can also extend to practical aspects of daily life. The dangerous person may insist on accompanying the victim everywhere, restrict their outings, and monitor their activities. This level of surveillance and control creates an environment of constant supervision, where the victim feels they have no privacy or freedom to make their own decisions. This feeling of being always under scrutiny can be extremely stressful and debilitating. Another common tactic is generating conflicts with the victim's friends and family. The dangerous person may create situations that provoke tensions and disagreements between the victim and their loved ones, further isolating them. They might invent stories, manipulate events, or exaggerate incidents to sow discord. As these conflicts increase, the victim may feel increasingly estranged from their support network and more dependent on the abuser. Additionally, the dangerous person may use emotional manipulation to strengthen control. They might make the victim feel guilty for wanting to spend time with others, suggesting they prefer others over them. This can make the victim feel guilty for maintaining their relationships, leading them to distance themselves even further from friends and family. Social isolation can also include the manipulation of information. The abuser might lie about what the victim's friends and family say or think, misrepresenting their words or intentions to create distrust. This distortion of reality can make the victim feel confused and disoriented, unable to distinguish truth from lies. The end result of these tactics is that the victim becomes increasingly isolated and dependent on the abuser. Without an external support network, the victim is more vulnerable to manipulation and control and less able to seek help or escape the situation. This isolation can have devastating effects on the victim's mental and emotional health, leading to depression, anxiety, and a deep sense of helplessness. Recognizing these tactics of isolation and control is crucial to taking steps to protect yourself. It's important to maintain connections with friends and family and seek external support when necessary. Establishing clear boundaries and rejecting control tactics can help resist isolation and preserve independence. Seeking professional help, such as counselors or support groups, can also be a vital strategy for facing and overcoming abuse. A lack of responsibility and a tendency to play the victim are common traits in people who can be dangerous and difficult to deal with. Recognizing these patterns is essential to understanding how these individuals manipulate situations and relationships to their advantage, avoiding blame and projecting their problems onto others. This behavior can be deeply destructive and have significant effects on those around them. One of the clearest signs of a lack of responsibility is the constant denial of errors. These people never admit when they are wrong or have caused a problem. Instead of taking responsibility for their actions, they always have an excuse ready or blame others. This denial can manifest in various contexts, from work to personal relationships, and often leaves those around them feeling frustrated and helpless. Another manifestation of this behavior is the tendency to avoid the consequences of their actions. When something goes wrong, these individuals quickly seek a way out that allows them to avoid facing the repercussions. They might manipulate others into taking the blame, misrepresent facts to appear innocent, or even lie outright to escape consequences. This constant evasion can create an environment of distrust and resentment as people around them feel used and betrayed. The pattern of victimization is equally harmful. People who always see themselves as victims never take responsibility for their problems or challenges. Instead, they always find someone or something to blame for their difficulties. They can be very convincing and make others feel sorry for them, allowing them to gain sympathy and support without having to change their behavior. However, this constant self-victimization can be exhausting for those around them, who may feel trapped in an endless cycle of complaints and demands for emotional support. Victimization can also be used as a tool for manipulation. By constantly presenting themselves as victims, these people can control others through guilt and compassion. They can make others feel responsible for their well-being and pressure them to make personal sacrifices to help them. This emotional manipulation can be very effective and difficult to resist, especially for those who have a compassionate nature and want to help. Additionally, a lack of responsibility and victimization often come with an inability to learn from mistakes. Because these individuals never admit their faults, they cannot reflect on their actions and make positive changes. This perpetuates a cycle of destructive behavior that affects not only themselves but everyone around them. The same problematic situations tend to repeat, causing continuous stress and a sense of hopelessness in their relationships. This behavior can also have a significant impact on group dynamics. In a work environment, for example, a person who never takes responsibility and always plays the victim can create a toxic atmosphere. Colleagues may feel demotivated and resentful, and team productivity may suffer. In the personal realm, this behavior can erode trust and respect in relationships, leading to conflicts and breakdowns. Recognizing these patterns is the first step in protecting yourself from people who exhibit this behavior. It's important to set clear boundaries and not allow their emotional manipulation to dictate your actions. Maintaining an objective perspective and not being swayed by excessive guilt or compassion can help handle these situations more effectively. Seeking external support, such as counselors or trusted friends, can also be helpful in maintaining a clear perspective and getting the necessary backing to face these challenges. Intuition and feelings of discomfort are powerful internal signals that can indicate when something is not right in our interactions with others. Often, our intuition acts as a primitive defense mechanism, alerting us to potential dangers before our conscious mind can specifically identify what is wrong. Learning to trust these feelings and recognize their importance can be crucial to our safety and well-being. Since ancient times, intuition has played a vital role in human survival. This internal sense allows us to perceive threats and react quickly, sometimes without concrete evidence. In modern life, though threats may not be as obvious as they were to our ancestors, intuition remains an essential tool for navigating the complexities of human relationships. One of the first indicators that something may be wrong is a persistent feeling of discomfort in someone's presence. This feeling can manifest in various forms, such as a knot in the stomach, a sense of anxiety, or simply an inexplicable sense that something is not right. These sensations should not be ignored or dismissed as paranoia, as they can indicate that our subconscious mind has detected danger signals that our conscious mind has not yet processed. The importance of trusting our intuition lies in its ability to pick up subtle signals that may not be evident at first glance. For example, a person may behave politely and friendly on the surface, but if their actions, gestures, or tone of voice do not match their words, our intuition may pick up this dissonance and alert us that something is off. This type of internal alert can be especially useful in situations where someone is trying to manipulate or deceive. Intuition can also help us identify harmful or dangerous behavior patterns. Sometimes, the conscious mind can overlook or rationalize inappropriate behavior, especially if we are emotionally involved with the person in question. However, intuition often detects these patterns more quickly and can prompt us to act protectively before the harm becomes significant. It's also important to recognize that feelings of discomfort can vary in intensity and frequency. An occasional feeling of discomfort may be a signal to take a closer look at our relationship with that person. However, if these feelings are persistent and intensify over time, it may be a clear indication that the relationship is toxic or potentially dangerous. In such cases, it is vital to take measures to protect yourself, whether by setting clear boundaries, seeking external support, or even distancing yourself from the relationship if necessary. Trusting our intuition does not mean acting impulsively without concrete evidence. Rather, it means taking our internal sensations seriously and using them as a guide to further investigate our interactions and relationships. This may include observing the other person's behavior more closely, looking for patterns of manipulation or control, and talking to trusted people for an external perspective. Society often teaches us to trust logic and reason more than our internal feelings. However, ignoring our intuition can leave us vulnerable to dangerous situations and people. Learning to balance intuition with rational thinking allows us to make more informed decisions and better protect our emotional and physical well-being. It's also crucial to educate ourselves about the warning signs our intuition may pick up on. These can include behaviors like disrespecting our boundaries, inconsistencies in the other person's stories or explanations, and any form of emotional or physical manipulation. The more familiar we are with these signs, the easier it will be for us to recognize them and act accordingly. In summary, trusting our intuition and recognizing feelings of discomfort in someone's presence is crucial to protecting ourselves and maintaining healthy relationships. Do not ignore those internal signals. They may be the key to avoiding dangerous situations and preserving your well-being. Thank you for watching. If these insights resonated with you, smash that like button and subscribe for more life.